Have you ever had a dream so big, so wild, it felt like it could set the world on fire, but when you tried to share it, you got nothing but blank stares or distracted nods? That's not just frustrating, it's a dream killer. I'm not talking about the half-hearted listening people do while scrolling their phones or glancing at the television. I'm talking about the kind of listening that makes you feel seen, understood, and unstoppable. The kind that says, your vision matters, and I'm all in. As someone who spent his life chasing insane ideas, putting rockets into orbit, building electric cars from scratch, tunneling under cities, I know what it's like to have a dream that sounds crazy to everyone else. And I know the power of having someone who actually hears you. That's what I want to be for the woman I love. That's the first step in helping her conquer her dreams. When I think about supporting her, it starts with listening, not just sitting there while she talks, but diving into her world. I want to know what makes her heart race, what keeps her up at night, what scares her, and what lights her up. Her dreams aren't just words to me, they're the blueprint of who she is and what she's capable of. When she shares them, I'm not going to be the guy who nods politely and moves on. I'm going to lean in, lock eyes, and ask the hard questions. What's driving this? How does it feel when you imagine it coming true? What's the one thing standing in your way? Those questions aren't just curiosity, they're my way of saying, I'm here to understand every piece of this because your dream is worth it. Listening like that isn't passive, it's active. It's about catching the little things, the way her voice shifts when she's excited, the pause when she's unsure, the spark in her eyes when she's onto something big. Those details aren't just noise, they're the signal. They tell me what her dream means to her, what it demands, and what she's afraid of losing. I've learned this from years of building companies like SpaceX and Tesla. The most groundbreaking ideas often start fragile. They're raw, unpolished, and vulnerable. They need space to breathe, to grow, to take shape. My job is to create that space for her, to make her feel safe enough to share the half-formed thoughts, the wild what-ifs, the fears she might not even admit to herself. That's where the real magic happens, not in the polished pitch, but in the messy, beautiful chaos of a dream taking root. I'm not just going to hear her words, I'm going to absorb them. If she mentions a conference she wants to attend, a book that inspires her, or a skill she wants to master, I'm not letting that slip by. I'll remember it, I'll make it happen. Maybe it's signing her up for that conference, ordering that book, or carving out time for her to practice that skill. Those aren't grand gestures, they're proof that I'm paying attention, that her words aren't just floating into the void, but landing somewhere that matters. I want her to know that when she speaks, I'm not just listening, I'm invested. I'm the guy who's going to bring up that idea she mentioned weeks ago and say, hey, I found this resource that could help with that project you were talking about. That kind of follow through isn't just support, it's a signal. I see you, I value you, and I'm in this with you. This kind of listening isn't about me playing the hero or solving her problems before she asks. It's about giving her the space to explore her own ideas. Too often, when someone shares a dream, people jump in with advice or solutions, trying to fix things before they're even broken. I'm not here for that. Um, Sometimes a dream doesn't need fixing, it needs room to grow. I want to be the sounding board that helps her refine her vision, not the guy who interrupts with, here's what you should do. If she's talking about starting a business, I'm not going to cut her off with a 5-point plan. I'm going to ask, what's the core of this? What problem are you solving? What's the one thing you want people to feel when they encounter it? Those questions push her to dig deeper, to see her own dream more clearly, without me trying to steer it for her. And let's be real, listening like this takes effort. It's not easy to shut off the noise of the world, my own projects, my phone, the million things pulling at my attention. But I've learned from running companies that the most important breakthroughs come when you focus on what matters. Her voice matters, her dreams matter. I don't want her to ever feel like she's competing with my inbox or my to-do list. When she talks, I'm all in 100%. No distractions, no half measures. That's how you build trust. That's how you make someone feel like their ideas aren't just valid, but vital. I also want to understand the why behind her dreams. If she wants to launch a startup, is it about financial freedom, creative control, solving a problem that's been eating at her? Knowing the why isn't just about curiosity, it's about aligning my support with what drives her. If her dream is about making a dent in the universe, I want to know how big that dent is and what it's made of. That's how I can be a real partner, not just a cheerleader. And sometimes the why isn't in the words, it's in the silences, the hesitations, the way she lights up or pulls back. I've spent enough time reading telemetry from rockets to know that the real data is often in the subtle signals. I'll watch for those with her too. This isn't just about her big, world changing dreams either. It's about the small ones, too, the ideas she might dismiss as trivial, the ones she's afraid to say out loud because they feel too personal or too far off. I want her to know she can share those with me. No judgment, no eye rolling, just a commitment to understanding. Because those small dreams, they're often the seeds of the big ones. I've seen it in my own work. SpaceX started with a single question about why rockets were so expensive. If someone had dismissed that question, we wouldn't be landing boosters on drone ships today. Her small ideas deserve that same respect. And here's the thing, I know women often feel like they have to shout to be heard. Society doesn't always make it easy. People interrupt, underestimate, or just plain ignore you. I've seen it happen, and it drives me nuts. That's why I'm doubling down on this for her. I want her to feel like her voice cuts through the noise, like it's the most important signal in the room. And I want every woman listening to this to demand that same respect. Your dreams aren't just noise, they're the signal. Don't let anyone treat them otherwise. Find the people who listen like their life depends on it, because your dreams are worth that kind of attention. For me, listening to her is like calibrating a spacecraft for launch. It's about getting the trajectory right from the start. If I don't understand her dreams, really understand them down to the nuts and bolts, how can I help her get to orbit? Every time I listen, I'm telling her without words, you're not alone in this. Your dreams aren't just yours, they're ours. And to every woman out there, I say this, your dreams deserve someone who listens like they're the most important mission in the world, because chances are they just might be. Let's get one thing straight. Dreams don't die because they're too big or too crazy. They die because the world throws up roadblocks, endless distractions, petty logistics, or people who don't get it, and you get stuck fighting battles that drain your energy before you even start. I've spent my life blasting through obstacles, whether it's building rockets that land themselves or electrifying the auto industry. So when it comes to the woman I love, I'm not just going to stand on the sidelines cheering. I'm going in with a sledgehammer, clearing every hurdle in her path so she can focus on what matters, making her dreams reality. This isn't about being her savior, it's about being her partner, the guy who makes sure the runway is clear so her rocket can launch. Think about what it takes to get a mission off the ground. At SpaceX, we don't just build the rocket and hope for the best. We obsess over every detail: fuel, trajectory, weather, you name it. Anything that could slow us down, we eliminate. That's the mindset I bring to her dreams. Life is full of friction, bills piling up, errands eating up hours, or endless meetings that don't move the needle. Those are the enemies of progress, and I'm not letting them bog her down. If she's buried under household chores while trying to build something world-changing, I'm stepping in cooking dinner, handling laundry, or running to the store for groceries. If her schedule's a mess, I'll help her carve out uninterrupted hours, even if it means I'm up at 3 a.m. rearranging my own day. Time is the ultimate currency, and I'm making sure she's got enough of it to chase what sets her soul on fire. But it's not just about the daily grind. Some obstacles are bigger, trickier, like doors that won't open because she doesn't have the right connections or resources. I've built companies from nothing, so I know how to find the right people and make things happen. If she needs to meet someone who can take her idea to the next level, a mentor, an investor, a collaborator, I'm digging into my network or hunting down new ones to make that introduction. If her dream needs tools, training, or tech, I'm on it, researching options, cutting through red tape, or even building something custom if that's what it takes. I'm not here to run her show, her vision is hers, but I'm damn sure going to make sure she's got the equipment to execute it. Then there are the invisible barriers, the ones that hit hardest because you can't always see them coming. Self-doubt, imposter syndrome, the voices, sometimes her own, sometimes others, telling her she's not enough, that her idea is too risky, or that she's reaching too far. I've been there. When we were trying to land Falcon 9, people called it impossible. They laughed, but we kept going, and now we're catching boosters like it's routine. So when she hits those moments of doubt, I'm not going to let her spiral. I'll be the one saying, look at what you've already done. You've got the brains, the grit, and the vision. This doubt, it's just noise. Tune it out. I'll remind her of her wins, big and small, because those are the proof she's already defying gravity. And let's talk about the outside noise. The world can be brutal, especially to women with big dreams. People will question her, underestimate her, or try to box her into some narrow definition of what she should be doing. I've seen it, and it's infuriating. My job is to be her shield, not to fight her battles for her, because she's more than capable, but to make sure she knows she's got someone in her corner who sees her strength, even when others don't. If someone dismisses her idea, I'll be there saying, they're wrong. I see where you're going, and it's huge. If she's facing skepticism, I'll help her strategize, not to prove them wrong, but to prove herself right. Her dreams don't need anyone's permission, but they do need a partner who'll stand firm when the world tries to push back. There's another kind of obstacle that's sneaky. It's the opportunities that look good but pull her off course. Not every offer is a step forward. Sometimes saying no to the good stuff is what lets you say yes to the great stuff. I'll be her sounding board, helping her weigh what aligns with her mission and what's just a distraction. If she's tempted to take on a project that doesn't serve her long term goal, I'll ask, does this get you closer to where you want to be, or is it just eating up your bandwidth? I've had to make those calls at Tesla and Neuralink, saying no to shiny distractions to keep the focus on what matters. I'll help her do the same, not by controlling her choices, but by giving her clarity to make them. On the practical side, I'm ready to invest real resources. If her dream needs funding, say for a prototype, a course, or a startup, I'm not just throwing money at it. I'm treating it like a mission critical project. Whether it's setting up a workspace in our home, buying equipment, or even cutting back on our own expenses to free up cash, I'm all in. This isn't charity, it's a partnership. Her success is our success. I've poured everything into my own companies, and I'll do the same for her vision, because I know what it takes to go from zero to orbit. Setbacks are another obstacle we'll face together. No dream worth chasing is a straight shot. I've had rockets blow up, factories stall, and deals fall through. It's messy, but it's part of the game. When her plans hit a snag, a project fails, a door closes, I'm not going to let her dwell on it alone. I'll be there breaking it down, saying, okay, what went wrong? What can we learn? What's the next move? We'll treat every failure like a data point, not a dead end. I'll help her pivot, rethink, and keep moving, because that's what separates the dreamers who make it from the ones who don't. I also know that chasing dreams can be exhausting. Burnout is real, and I'm not going to let her run herself into the ground. If she's pushing too hard, I'll step in and say, hey, let's take a breather. You're not a machine, even if I sometimes act like one. We'll plan rest days, carve out time for her to recharge, and make sure her dream doesn't come at the cost of her health. A sustainable mission is one you can keep fighting for, and I'm here to make sure she can. To every woman listening, I want you to know this. Your dreams deserve a clear path. You shouldn't have to fight through a million distractions or doubters to get there. Demand a partner, whether it's a spouse, a friend, or a colleague who's ready to roll up their sleeves and clear the way. You're not asking for too much, you're asking for what you're worth, and you're worth a hell of a lot. For me, clearing her path isn't just about love, it's about respect. It's about knowing her dreams are as big as any rocket I've ever launched, and I'm damn well going to make sure she has the runway to take off. Dreams are like rockets. They need constant fuel to keep climbing, especially when the atmosphere gets heavy and the pull of gravity, doubt, fear, failure tries to drag them back to Earth. I've been through it. When SpaceX was on the brink with 3 failed launches and the world calling us fools, I felt that weight. I know what it's like to question everything, to wonder if you're crazy for even trying. The woman I love will face those moments too, and I'm not going to let her face them alone. My job isn't just to cheer her on from the sidelines, it's to be the fuel in her tank, the unrelenting voice that says, you've got this. You're stronger than you know. I'm here to keep her fire burning, no matter how fierce the headwinds get. This isn't about throwing out generic platitudes like, you can do it. That's cheap. Real encouragement is specific, grounded, and relentless. When she's staring down a challenge that feels impossible, a project that's stalling, a goal that seems out of reach, I'm not going to let her get lost in the noise of doubt. I'll sit her down and say, let's look at the data. Remember when you nailed that presentation last month? Or when you pushed through that roadblock nobody else could crack? That's you. That's your strength. I'll point to her track record, not to flatter her, but to remind her of the evidence. She's already proven she can do hard things. I've seen it in my own work when Tesla was bleeding cash and everyone said we'd fail. I leaned on the wins we'd already racked up to keep going. She deserves that same clarity, that same anchor to her own resilience. Encouragement isn't just about words, it's about showing up in the moments that matter. If she's prepping for a big pitch, I'm not just saying good luck. I'm clearing my schedule, sitting with her, running through her slides, throwing curveball questions to make her sharper. If she's learning a new skill, I'm celebrating every milestone, no matter how small, whether it's mastering a line of code or nailing a new design. Those small wins aren't trivial, they're the building blocks of something massive. At SpaceX, every successful test, even the tiny ones, got us closer to orbit. I want her to see that every step she takes is progress, and I'll be there to mark it, to make sure she knows it counts. The world can be brutal, especially to women who dare to dream big. People will question her, diminish her, or try to make her feel like her ambitions are too much. I've seen it and it makes my blood boil. Um, when that happens, I'm not just going to pat her on the back and say, ignore them. I'm going to be the loudest voice in the room saying, they don't see it yet, but I do. You're going to blow them away. I'll remind her of her unique strengths, the way she thinks 3 steps ahead, the way she turns chaos into clarity, or how her passion pulls people in. I want her to see herself the way I see her, as a force of nature, unstoppable, even when the world tries to tell her otherwise. There's another side to this, protecting her mental space. Doubt doesn't always come from within. Sometimes it's the external noise critics, naysayers, or even well-meaning people who don't get it. I'm not here to shield her from reality. She's tough enough to face it, but I'm damn sure going to make sure she's not drowning in negativity. If she's in a room full of people dismissing her ideas, I'll be the one pulling her aside saying, their opinions don't define you. Your vision does. I'll help her filter out the noise, focus on what matters, and keep her eyes on the horizon. I've had to do that myself, tune out the skeptics who said reusable rockets were a pipe dream. She'll get the same backup from me. Consistency is key. Encouragement isn't a one-time thing you do when things are going great. It's what you do when the chips are down, when progress feels like it's crawling, when hope is flickering. Those are the moments that test you, and I'm not going to let her face them alone. If she's ready to throw in the towel, I'll say, let's take one more step. Just one. You've done it before, and you'll do it again. That's how we got to Mars, step by step, failure after failure, never giving up. I'll be her anchor, the one who believes in her even when she's struggling to believe in herself. I also want to be a mirror for her brilliance. Sometimes people are so used to their own strengths that they stop seeing them. She might not realize how her creativity sparks ideas in others, or how her persistence turns impossible into done. I'll reflect that back to her, not just with words, but with actions. If she's doubting her worth, I'll point to the impact she's already made, the people she's inspired, the problems she's solved. I want her to see that her dream isn't just a possibility, it's a necessity, because the world needs what only she can bring. And when she's pushing too hard, because let's face it, dreamers like us don't know when to stop, I'll be the one to say, slow down, you're not a machine. I'll remind her to rest, to breathe, to take care of herself. Encouragement isn't about driving someone to burnout, it's about balance. It's about saying, you've done enough for today. Let's recharge so you can keep fighting tomorrow. I've learned that the hard way, and I'm not letting her repeat my mistakes. To every woman out there listening, I want you to know this. Your dreams deserve someone who fuels them, not someone who lets them fizzle out. You're not asking too much when you demand a partner who believes in you, who shows up with real, specific, unrelenting support. Your fire is worth it. Your vision is worth it. And if you're fighting alone right now, keep going because every step you take is proof you're unstoppable. For the woman I love, I'll be the fuel that keeps her rocket climbing, no matter how tough the journey gets. And I want you to demand the same someone who sees your spark and makes damn sure it never goes out. Dreams aren't just ideas, they're missions. And missions don't succeed on hope alone. They need resources, time, and a relentless commitment to making them real. I've poured my life into building things rockets that touch the stars, cars that redefine what's possible, tunnels that reshape how we move. I know what it takes to turn a spark of an idea into something that changes the world. So when it comes to the woman I love, I'm not just going to wish her luck with her dreams. I'm going to invest in them, my time, my energy, my resources, my brain power. Like they're the most critical project I've ever tackled. Her success isn't separate from mine. It's part of the future we're building together. And I'm all in to make sure her vision doesn't just stay a dream, it becomes reality. Investing starts with the one thing you can never get back, time. Time is the fuel of progress, and I'm not going to let hers get eaten up by the noise of life. If she needs hours to focus on her work, whether it's sketching out a new design, coding a prototype, or planning a business, I'm clearing the deck. That means taking on whatever's pulling her away, handling the logistics, dealing with the day-to-day, or even just making sure she's got a quiet space to think. If she's got a big event, a pitch, a conference, a meeting that could open doors, I'm not just dropping her off at the curb. I'm there by her side, ready to brainstorm, rehearse, or just be her sounding board. I've stayed up all night debugging code for Tesla. I'll do the same to help her nail a presentation or refine an idea. Her time is my time because her mission is our mission. Then there's the hard stuff. Money. Dreams often need funding to take off, and I'm not talking about throwing pocket change at the problem. If her vision requires investment, say equipment for a startup, a course to level up her skills, or seed money to get a project off the ground, I'm putting skin in the game. Not as a loan, not as a favor, but as a statement. I believe in you so much, I'm betting on you. I've put everything on the line for SpaceX, mortgaging my own future to keep the company alive. I know what it means to back a dream with real stakes, and I'll do the same for her. Whether it's covering the cost of a 3D printer for her designs or funding a trip to meet key players in her field, I'm treating her dream like it's the next big thing because it probably is. But investment isn't just about cash or hours, it's about intellectual capital too. I'm not claiming to be an expert in her field, hell. I'm not an expert in half the stuff I've built, but I know how to solve problems. I know how to ask the right questions, break things down, and find a path forward. If she's stuck on a challenge, I'm sitting down with her, whiteboard out, mapping the problem like it's a Neuralink algorithm. Maybe it's a business model that needs tweaking, a design that's hitting a wall, or a strategy that's not clicking. I'll bring a fresh perspective, not to take over, but to spark new ideas. What if you tried this angle? What's the core of what you're building? What's the one thing that'll make this fly? I've spent years iterating on rockets and cars. I'll bring that same rigor to her work, helping her refine without losing her vision. Connections are another kind of currency, and I'm spending them freely. Opportunities often come down to who you know, and I've been lucky to build a network of brilliant minds, engineers, entrepreneurs, visionaries. If her dream needs a door opened, a collaborator, a mentor, an investor, I'm making the call, setting up the meeting, or even cold emailing someone on her behalf. I've seen how one introduction can change everything. I got SpaceX off the ground because the right people believed in me. I want her to have that same edge. If she needs to get into a room with someone who can take her idea to the next level, I'm not just opening the door, I'm kicking it down. Investing also means being there for the emotional roller coaster. Dreams are messy, they're exhilarating one day, soul crushing the next. When she's riding high on a breakthrough, I'm right there sharing the excitement, asking, what's next? How do we scale this? When she's hitting a wall, a rejection, a failure, a moment where it feels like it's all falling apart, I'm not standing back saying, tough luck. I'm in it with her, feeling the frustration, helping her unpack what went wrong and plot the next move. I've had my share of failures, rockets exploding, production lines stalling, and I know they're not the end. They're data points. I'll help her see that too, turning setbacks into fuel for the next push. Sometimes investing means sacrifice. Maybe it's cutting back on our own plans, a vacation, a new car, so we can funnel resources into her project. Maybe it's rearranging our lives to give her the flexibility she needs. I'm not afraid of that. I've lived lean to keep my companies alive, and I'd do it again to see her dream take flight. Because here's the truth, her success isn't just hers, it's ours. When she wins, we both win. Her dream isn't a side project, it's part of the future we're building together, and I'm not half assing it. I also want to protect her vision in its early stages. Not every idea needs to be shared with the world right away. Critics can kill a dream before it's strong enough to stand. I'll be her safe harbor, the one she can bounce ideas off without fear of judgment. If she's working on something new, a book, a product, a movement, I'll help her nurture it, keep it shielded until it's ready to face the spotlight. I've learned that with my own projects. Timing matters. You don't show your prototype to the world until it's solid. I'll help her know when to hold back and when to go big. And I'm not just in it for the flashy moments, the launches, the awards, the headlines. I'm here for the grind, the late nights, the moments when progress feels like it's moving at a snail's pace. That's when belief matters most. I'll be there, steady, reminding her that every step forward counts, that the long slog is what builds empires. I've seen it with Tesla, with Starlink. Success isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, and I'm running it with her. To every woman out there, I want you to hear this. Your dreams deserve investment, not just hope, not just words, but real, tangible commitment. You're not asking too much when you demand a partner who puts their time, money, and energy into your vision. Your mission is worth it, it's worth betting on. And if you're out there fighting for it alone, know this, every ounce of effort you put in is an investment in yourself. Keep going. For the woman I love, I'm not just a supporter, I'm a partner, putting everything I've got into her mission, and I want you to demand the same. Because your dreams, they're not just possibilities, they're the future, and they're worth everything. The greatest thrill in supporting the woman I love isn't waiting for her to cross some grand finish line. It's being there for every single step, every hard-earned moment, and making damn sure she knows each one is a victory worth celebrating. Dreams aren't just about the big, shiny moments, the product launches. The awards, the headlines, they're built on the small, gritty wins, the late nights she pushed through, the fears she conquered, the ideas she brought to life, one painstaking piece at a time. I've learned this building, SpaceX and Tesla, every successful test, every solved problem, even the failures that taught us something, was a step toward changing the world. For her, I'm not just cheering when she hits the jackpot. I'm celebrating every milestone, no matter how small, because those are the sparks that keep her dream burning bright. And I want every woman out there to know your journey deserves to be honored every single step of the way. Celebrating isn't about throwing a party for every little thing. It's about recognizing the effort, the courage, and the progress that go into chasing something big. If she spends hours perfecting a design, nails a tough conversation with the client, or finally cracks a problem that's been eating at her, that's not just nice. That's a win. And I'm making sure she feels it. Maybe it's as simple as a handwritten note saying, "You killed it today, nobody could have done that better." Maybe it's taking her out for a quiet dinner to mark the moment, or just sitting down together to talk about what she accomplished and why it matters. The point isn't the gesture, it's showing her that I see her work, her grind, her heart, and I'm proud as hell. I've seen how a single moment of recognition can recharge you for the long haul. We celebrated every rocket landing, even the shaky ones, because they got us closer to Mars. Her steps deserve that same energy. I also want to celebrate the effort, not just the outcome. Sometimes she'll pour everything into something, a proposal, a prototype, a pitch, and it won't land the way she hoped. That doesn't make it a loss. The fact that she showed up, took the risk, put herself out there, that's a victory in itself. I'll be there to remind her, you didn't just try, you built something real, and that's more than most people ever do. I've had my share of flops, early Tesla models that didn't sell, rocket tests that went up in flames, but everyone taught me something that made the next win possible. I'll help her see that her failures are just data points on the path to something extraordinary. By celebrating her effort, I'm telling her that her value isn't tied to perfect results. It's in her persistence, her courage, her refusal to quit. There's power in shared joy, too. When we celebrate together, it's not just her win, it's ours. If she lands a big deal or finishes a project she's been sweating over, I'm not just clapping from the sidelines. Um, I'm in it with her, feeling the high, sharing the excitement. Um, I want her to look at me and see someone who's as invested in her victory as she is. Maybe we're toasting with friends, capturing the moment with a photo, or just sitting together grinning like idiots because she did something amazing. That shared joy isn't just a feel-good moment, it deepens our bond, makes her dream part of our story. I've felt that with my teams at SpaceX when we stuck a landing, the whole crew felt it, not just me. I want her to feel that same connection, knowing I'm right there with her every step. I also want to preserve those moments for her. Dreams can be a long grind, and it's easy to forget how far you've come when you're staring at the mountain ahead. Um, I'll keep a record, not in some cheesy scrapbook way, but something real. Maybe it's a journal where we jot down our wins, big and small, or a folder of photos from the moments she shined. When doubt creeps in, and it will, because that's how dreams work, she can look back and see the proof. She's been kicking ass all along. I've done this with my own projects, keeping logs of every milestone to remind myself what we've overcome. For her, it's the same principle, a tangible reminder that she's not just dreaming, she's building, and she's further along than she might think. Celebrating also breaks up the journey into manageable pieces. Big dreams can feel endless, like you're running a marathon with no mile markers. By marking her progress, whether it's finishing a draft, learning a new skill, or just getting through a tough week, I'm helping her see that the path isn't infinite. Every win is a marker, a moment to catch her breath and say, I'm doing this. It's like plotting a course to Mars. You don't just aim for the planet, you hit checkpoints along the way. Those checkpoints keep you sane, keep you motivated. I'll make sure she has them because a dream you can't enjoy along the way isn't worth chasing. And let's talk about burnout. Chasing something big can be brutal. It's why so many give up. If all you do is grind without pausing to savor the wins, you'll run out of gas. I've pushed myself to the edge more times than I can count, and I'm not letting her do the same. Celebrating is a defense against that. It's a way to say, you're killing it, but you don't have to kill yourself. If she's been at it for weeks, head down. I'll pull her away for a night off, a hike, or just a stupid movie to laugh at. Those moments of joy recharge her, remind her why she's fighting. I've learned that from my own work. You can't sustain a mission if you're running on empty. Her dream deserves to be a source of joy, not just struggle. I also want her to know that no win is too small to matter. The world might not notice when she overcomes a fear or finishes a first draft, but to me, those are seismic. They're proof she's moving the needle. If she's hesitating to celebrate herself because so many women are taught to downplay their achievements, I'll be the one saying, stop, look at what you did. This is huge. I want her to feel the weight of her progress, to see that every step is building something unstoppable. And I want her to know that my pride in her isn't tied to some perfect outcome. It's rooted in who she is, in the fire she brings to every challenge. To every woman listening, I want you to hear this. Your wins, no matter how small they seem, are worth celebrating. You don't have to wait for the world to applaud. Every step you take, every fear you face, every hurdle you clear is a victory. Demand a partner, a friend, a community that sees that lifts you up for it. You're not asking for too much, you're asking for what you deserve. And if you're out there fighting alone, celebrate yourself, keep track of your wins, because they're the fuel that'll carry you to the finish line. For the woman I love, I'll be there for every moment, big or small, making sure she knows her journey is seen, valued, and worth every second of celebration. Your dreams deserve that same honor because they're not just dreams, they're the future, and they're worth shouting about.